Hey there, everyone. Today we have another gentleman today on the Abundance Show, exploring the fabric of success. We have featuring Suresh Menon, who's a sales augmentation specialist. Suresh Menon is dedicated to creating impact through systematically implementing sales process for growing MSMEs in a predictable manner. His organization, Value Additions Sales and Marketing Pvt Ltd, a 11-year-old company, is a unique B2B sales augmentation company where the focus is on creating predictable business growth. Very interesting, right? They specialize in sales portfolio transitions across sales functions and help organizations build sales processes and sales manuals. So it brings in system into the place. So sales mentoring to business owners and teams, lead generation and database research for large organizations are an integral part of their templated processes. Suresh Menon's experience encompasses climbing the sales ladder to be CEO of global companies and being associated in various capacities with CARE, IIT Mumbai, and IBS Business School, Chennai. So it makes for a very interesting profile of this gentleman, Suresh Menon. So without any further delay, let me get Suresh Menon on stage. Hey, Suresh.
Hi, Satish. Absolutely. I didn't know all this about myself. When you said it, it really flashed back, and I really felt so very proud of myself.
Great.
It's an honor to be in the show, which is all of abundance, and somebody like you is abundantly so genuine. It can't get better than this. Thank you, Satish, for having me with you.
Thank you, Suresh. Thanks. My pleasure. So, Suresh, let's begin by asking you this question. What has been your professional experience prior to taking the plunge into coaching, mentoring, or consultancy business that you're doing now?
Right. So coaching, consulting, mentoring, all of these words are like not very close words for me. I love the word augmenter. Okay. So maybe I love that word. So I like to be, somebody said, are you doing training? Do you do coaching? Do you do consulting? I said, no, I do augmenting. Okay. That's my love with this word augmentation or augmenter. So probably what led to this is what you know very well. Let me count. 33 years ago, I think I should. Please delete this, okay? I don't want to let out my age. Okay, so 32 years ago,
Okay.
when rookie sales happened, nothing to do out of college, you go and sell. You know, during your vacation, you did market research or survey, whatever. Go and sell, so-called sell. Okay, so that journey took me from late 89, 88 types to 2001. All of those 2 decades and more. 2.5 decades. And in that journey, when I moved from being a rookie sales guy up in the street to become CEO of a company in IT, one day my son asked me, what exactly are you into? I mean, I was being a CEO, handling multiple things, project management, offshore projects, US, Singapore, all of those. And that's when suddenly, sometimes when an innocent little son asks a question, suddenly brainwave happens. That probably happens to me. I'm articulating it as I see it happening, talking to you. And that's when I realized that I'm more of a sales guy than an IT guy. I was till that time told that I was IT guy. You know, anybody wants a job in IT, Suresh Menon is IT. Anybody wants to be shipped abroad, body shopped, Suresh Menon. Okay, so I was an IT guy, so called. Then I realized no, I was not IT. I was more of sales, because sales is what got me from then to here. And then sales, I realized, was a science. Sales, I realized, was a method. Sales is not about art. It was not about smooth talking and hoodwinking and shortcutting and all those things. I mean, yes, people used to say, salesman, and their smile is to come. So I just wonder, why is there smiling? Because sales keeps the economy going, keeps families going, keep countries going. Because unless you sell, how do you run and exchange money? Obviously, logic. So then I realized I'm a sales guy. That's when sales, consulting, implementing sales, the process came up. And then luckily for me, there was a failed venture in Dubai when I had digital factors after 2002. I didn't take off as the recession struck. We were into gamification, like contest to win or hangama of those days. And that was ready to be launched. It was all over Khaleej Times and Gulf News. And Malayalam channels were, recording the launch. And I tried to speak my broken Malayalam at that time in Dubai. All of that I remember. And then it just flamed because the money just went off. Was not there anymore. And then I came back, and that's when the first company was there asking me to set up a sales department. They have no sales department. Everything happened through their IT company, and that's when we set up the sales function in their organization. And parallelly, I used to do a lot of sessions for SMEs along with Professor Subhash Babu at IIT Bombay, where I was associated with as part of CARE, Cell for Applied Research and Entrepreneurship. It was part of the continuing education program for entrepreneurs. So there I realized a lot of entrepreneurs today extremely good in their own art, manufacturers or traders or service specialists, but in sales there was definitely a lot of ground to be covered, and I had all of that knowledge just by the hard knocks on the field over the last 25 years, from Mumbai to Rajkot to Porbandar. I, by the way, slept in a train which was British had made, where it went to Mahatma Gandhi's place in Porbandar. I remember that. To Singapore, to Dubai, to New Jersey, and all of that. So all that experience coming together, sales augmentation came into play, and then 2007, ValueAdditions as a partnership firm was born, and 2010 is when it was born like a private limited company. So it's 11 plus 2, 13 years. And that was the foundation when the mission was to make sure that every solopreneur, entrepreneur, womanpreneur, professionals, business owners, family owned or startups should understand that sales is as much method as any other function. If there's a method to finance, there's a method to cash flow management, method to procurement, method to manufacturing, method to render services, there is a method to sales also. It doesn't matter what your personality is, but that's when sales augmentation came into play, and we started handling large accounts and SMEs. Large accounts, we do database research and lead generation, and all of that: lead generation, lead nurturing, lead nourishment, lead management, or all for large organizations like Hitachi, Vertiv, Emerson, Metal Power, Beckman Coulter, and in the list, PricewaterhouseCoopers, list is on. And for smaller organizations, as I call it as MSMEs, we basically make sure today, over a period of time, that we engage in terms of developing the sales process for them and implement that sales manuals and get them flying on their own, not to sell for them, but make them sell for themselves in a manner which is methodical. That's the journey. That's what I was doing before. That's what we do now. So I'm just got carried away in that making that storyline, rendering that storyline. In the interest of time, I will cut it short, but it's absolutely nice to feel that you're representing sales. And I tell people, not marketing, not brand building, sales. As simple as that. That's what is sales augmentation, Satish.
Great, great. I think that touches a chord with me as well, because I remember in my career as well, sales and marketing used to be the designation in most of the roles that I'd headed. And then what is to happen is that there is to be a lot of comfort in taking refuge in the fact or claiming that you're titled as marketing head or something like that. Sales is something where you have to take the responsibility, and it's like clearly black and white. And most of the seniors in the company tend to pass or shove that responsibility onto someone else rather than take up that. So it's much more easier for people to do that, because I'm telling you from my own experience. That's number one. And number two is that you're absolutely right, bang on. Without sales, nothing can exist. Whether you're technical head of the company, or you're a business owner who is heading the R&D vertical or the technical vertical, ultimately, if you're not able to sell across your concept, your idea to your own people and to the customer base, then it's nothing actually. It's all on paper. Absolutely. And I think what you're doing is absolutely valuable for people. MSMEs and large organizations.
Sales mindset has to pervade across the organization, from the CEO downward, laterally, everywhere, right? The sales mindset. I'm an accountant. I may not be in sales. Not a good idea. It just makes people so very happy. I think the sales guys are the most spiritual people, Satish, and they're the ones who really understand, is what I would say. So I've said this to a couple of people who are not in sales, and I got frowns. But over a period of time, I'm sure the frowns will become, understanding nods, like you are doing.
Very true. Very true. Very true. Yeah. Well said. Well said.
Thank you. Yeah.
So Suresh, what does your business specialize in? From your perspective, and what are the unique things about you and your team that you deliver to the market?
Right. So thank you for that question, Satish. Like I covered in the earlier question, I said when I got carried away. So to make it in a nutshell, for large organizations, we basically do database research, qualified database research, and lead management. We enable their sales teams, which are more structured, to make sure that they sell efficiently. And we get into deep dive. For example, somebody would give us a scope of work which says, this kind of CXO, this kind of turnover of companies, and this kind of geography, we would want leads in this particular sector. So we would get into deep dive. So we become partners or associates or extended arms of large corporates to empower their sales team. So we work with their marketing team or marketing management, so to say. Over the last 2 years, when before that, we were doing consulting for SMEs, and we have products, service products like sales multiplier, sales enabler, sales scaling up, sales soaring up, various of those. We do consulting. But over the last 2 years, when this new normal, or now the current normal, now normal has happened, we basically make sure that all of that, instead of doing into consulting, we do something called as community augmenting, where I have co-founded a network called the Genius Entrepreneur Network with Deepa Thomas. And this network is a pro-learning network where we make sure that SMEs are very clearly involved in having a community developed for them, and the objective is to sell through the community. Have a community that is having traction, a community that is imbibing and learning together, a community that is beginning to sell and buy together, and fostering the community, expanding the community is one sure way of having a smoothness in sales. Flow sales, I will call it. I'll also probably cover it if you have time. But community building is the way to go. That is what we do. So all our sales products, services, which I call as products in terms of templated services, are now offered through the Genius Entrepreneur Network of building this community. And in the community, every entrepreneur evolves in his or her sales capability through this method which we have evolved.
Very nice, very interesting. I think this is quite unique to what you're doing. I don't think I've heard this from anyone else, especially coming as a consultant from outside and creating these communities. I think we'd like to hear more about this in the future part of this today's interview.
Sure.
Before that, I will just cover a few points before we proceed. And today, for the audience, I would like to say that I've decided to go a little deep dive with Suresh Menon. Okay, we're going to talk a lot about his domain expertise, and we're going to try and extract a few nuggets, golden nuggets from him, and about this area of expertise, of course, about sales augmentation. And let's see where it takes us. Okay, so tell me, Suresh, how is personality related to sales capability?
Oh, that's really deep. Straight away you hit the dagger in. I thought you will be a nice guy, digging deeply, softly, but you went right in. Because you know why I say that? Because they say that, oh, somebody's an extrovert, you're a great salesperson. Yeah. People interview, okay, I will look at somebody's personality trait. Hasmukh hai, zinda dil hai, to acha sales karega. Koi baat hi nahi kar raha hai, to sales nahi karega. Set parameters. But I can strongly say that, I'm open to debate, of course, but with my experience, that I just can be the most extreme of introvert and be an excellent sales guy. I can be the most extreme of extroverts and be not a good sales guy, not being effective, right? So that's what I can easily say. So I would say that personality, Satish, is something that we are inherent with. We have to be aware of our personality, and if that awareness is there, then sales can be a career for anybody. So if I'm an introvert, I will listen compulsively and make the impact in sales. If I'm an extrovert, I will talk prudently and make an impact in sales. What does it mean? It means once I'm aware of my personality, and if I have the passion for selling, I will not say that my personality is this, so I'm not good at sales, or my personality is this, so I'm good at sales. No, I will say that if this is what is my personality, what do I have to do to adapt myself to be able to sell better, sell well? So I can be vernacular, I can be talking with a lisp, I can be having stuttering, I can speak not very fluently. But if I'm and I'm aware of my personality trait, my weaknesses and my lack of my strengths and my lack of strengths, I can definitely lay down a path which will enable me to be an excellent salesperson. And I would say one more thing, Satisha, being in IT, over time, you and me would agree that after 40, 45, there is this big fear in the IT scenario of jobs not being there because suddenly you're old and they say you may not be required. A lot of anxiety goes on. Being in Bangalore, I'm sure this must be a story more than Mumbai, but IT scenario wherein people feel worried as to what do we do next. But if you are in sales, if you have a second innings, you have a parallel role and you're doing sales, irrespective of personality, believe you me, life is under control. You know, and you look at life in front of you, eye to eye, and say, no problem, throw it at me, I will handle it. Not because of arrogance, because of the confidence that sales gives in each one of us. So I would say personality is independent of whether I'll be a good salesperson or not. And I would say sales should be embraced and adapted to my personality, and that would become a big, what is the right word? Liberator for each and every individual. It could be a homemaker, it could be a failed businessman, it could be somebody who lost a job, somebody who is not very happy with one's current profession. It opens up so many countless doors, and it's that one door which might take you to freedom. So that's what my take is on personality.
Wow.
Would you
Amazing.
advise
Amazing.
me, recommend me as a personality development coach, Satish, after this Bhashan?
Yeah, I think it's an integral part of who you are. I think what you do is, I think we'll cover that in the later part of the interview. I think that's very crucial. I think few months ago, I was also interviewing one more gentleman who is actually a specialist in leadership skills and all of that, and he does a whole lot of personality tests on people. I think that's what you also specialize in. Let's see whether we can cover that in the course of today's discussion.
Sure, sure,
Yeah,
Satish.
great, super. So, Suresh, now how is personality, related, or I would call, what is the interdependence between marketing and sales in the new norm that we are living in today? What's the interdependence between marketing and sales? Because you talked about that to a certain extent in the beginning part of today's session.
Right. So I would say this earlier time. I'm sure that pre-pandemic, when it was either virtual or digital or physical, it was very clear. I can only do in Bombay because physically I can only cover Bombay. But now in the virtual world, I can cover Bombay to. Give me a Bermuda, okay? Just try to rhyme it. Bombay or Bermuda, I can cover Mumbai or Manchester, I can cover, right? So in this new normal, I think it is by and large thumb rule. I would say, irrespective of any of the product, marketing definitely was earlier supposed to be a support system for sales, but now I would say marketing has taken precedence. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, marketing has to be up there, create the environment, and then sales happens. So if I am into a particular profession, irrespective of whatever it is, I have to be up there in digital media or in Facebook or in social media or wherever, or maybe part of a referral team. And there are people who will talk about me, create that environment. So when I talk to my prospects thereafter, I would already be having an aura which they will start buying into, and selling becomes easier. So marketing today, I think, has gone ahead of sales, not in a manner of marketing and sales being in contention or being in competition, but marketing clearly opens up, does the recce, opens up the opportunities, creates a captive community, which I spoke about earlier. We'll speak about again later. And that community is when I then focus on selling to. I don't sell anything to everybody. I sell everything to somebody. That community, and that is where I think today the interdependence of and dependence on marketing and sales happen. So I could be in any profession, but I think marketing goes in first, sales then comes in later. And I think this thing of power packing and pushing through sales using fists and say बेचना ही कैसा भी बेचना है, I think those days are over. I think because there are customers, prospects who are very much more aware. It's all about pull sales. When you create a climate for somebody to buy, rather than you say somehow let me having tomorrow is the last day of the month, I need to achieve my target. Let me just put something down the throat. I think the time for that is getting done with. It doesn't leave a good taste when I do a hard sell and I know back of my heart that I just gave it to somebody who didn't require it. I don't think I'll sleep well, and I don't think those days are probably numbered. So I need to create enough prospects in the sales funnel, enough community, enough abundance, if I can use the word, and then I sell well. I don't have to worry about it. So I think marketing today, Satish, is up there, ahead of sales, and sales follows very closely.
Wow. Wow, so profound actually, and it's very close to my heart as well, Suresh. I know
That is
exactly what you're saying. Marketing and sales cannot be delinked now any longer, and it's all about creating that value addition in the market space even before you expect sales. So
yeah,
the marketing should help you like a pull strategy, so that people look out for you and want to say that how do I engage with you, how do I work with you, what do we do, instead of going out there in the open and just announcing to the world that I do this, do this, do this, buy this, buy this, buy this. Instead of that, it's all about adding more and more value,
correct.
and without any expectations, of course, very, very important. Without any expectation, adding value to your target segment market. And then second of all, creating that pull rather than pushing down sales because it's your need, rather than finding out what is the need of
Yeah.
the customer and just being out there with your content and with your value. Super well said, Suresh. Anything else you would
Thank you,
add to that?
Satish. Yeah, sorry.
Anything else you would like to add to
Yeah,
that?
I would say is that, yeah, I mean, when you said what came to my mind is taking a stand for somebody. So it's whether it's a customer or whether it is, for example, I take a stand for you that you need to go for a health checkup, for example, and I feel you're a buddy of mine. You have to go for a health checkup and take a stand for you. Then for me, it doesn't matter whether you're going to feel upset that I'm breathing down your neck and I'm harassing you. Why the hell is you concerned? As long as I'm clear about my stand, that I'm doing it for you and your well-being. So with my customers and prospects, I think it's important to take a stand and or tell a prospect, "Okay, this is not for you. Thank you for giving me your time. I will not follow up with you because you are not going to be a prospective buyer." I think these are times in the Gen community we speak about it. Client avatar has been defined so very precisely. So if there is one product of mine, I cannot afford to have more than two client avatars. I need to have one client avatar, maximum two. If I define my client avatar in 10, 20 parameters, for example, it could be Satish by age dash plus. Satish, I'm not declaring your age in the public forum, okay? So don't worry. Uh, Somebody's got this kind of education, somebody's got this kind of family background, this kind of business acumen, this kind of network, and that will become an ideal client avatar for me. So defining that across 10, 15, 20 parameters is so crucial, and anybody which is plus minus here 20% here we can take up. But somebody who's away from this client avatar is not a good bet to sell. So I will tell somebody like that you don't fit into my client avatar, or maybe some other words, and don't sell to them. As long as I'm selling to my client avatar in that band, then selling is really a pleasure. It happens automatically, without any. So once I know I'm selling to this client avatar, and this is what is going to benefit them, then without doubt I'll take a stand for them. And when I take a stand for them, they can see it. I don't have to tell them in English that I've taken a stand for you. I mean, they know very well this guy means well. His product or service will be having this kind of price point, but they don't see it as price, they see it as value, because they see at the end of the day that this guy is having a stand. And once you know that a stand is being taken, you will actually open up, because every buyer today wants to do business with a seller with whom they're comfortable. It's not that a buyer has got extra money and when ask a buyer, they will 99% in B2B more, and in certain cases of B2C consultative selling, the buyers will buy only when they're comfortable with the seller. Even if somebody says, "I'll give you free, like Satish, aap free le lo, whatever it is, best product," but you're not comfortable with me, chances are you will say probably I'll kal milta hu, and not be comfortable. Even if I say aapke liye main zero price hai, whatever it is. So the comfort factor becomes important. I think it's a human need probably. So I think taking a stand for your client avatar once you define makes everything else disappear. And client avatar is a different subject altogether. Okay, I mean, that's like I won't say PhD subject, but that's a different subject. But client avatar has been defined. So I know very clearly ये अवतार में फिट हो रहा है कि नहीं फिट हो रहा है, नहीं फिट हो रहा है तो probably I should not sell to this client avatar, and that thing will help me to take a better stand for them.
Wow, very nice, very nice, very interesting. I think
Thank
this is
you,
the first
Nitish.
time I'm hearing a concept from you about this. Very nice,
Really
very interesting.
appreciate it.
So, how does sales flow happen?
You said that. I knew it was coming. So I call it as flow sales. So,
Flow sales.
So open a tap, water comes in. Okay. A friend of mine says, "Why only water, yaar?" The nice guy says honey comes out. The other guy is not so nice says liquor comes out. You know how it is. We will talk later. So when the tap opens, the flow of sales happens. What does it mean? It means that I am there where business comes in. So if I am in being an eternal Mumbaiker, I'll use the example of Crawford Market, and you have your roots in Mumbai, so I don't have to say what is Crawford Market, right? So the fact that everyone there selling a cup, for example, you'll find maybe 50. I don't know, 50, maybe 100 shops selling this kind of cup, all sitting next to each other. Logic tells me they're all competitors, yeah. एक के बाजू में क्यों बैठ रहा है? Competitors should sit away from each other, well, logically, but they're all sitting next to each other. The simple commonsensical theory is that that is where the flow happens. Like civilizations happened where rivers were there, where water was there. Civilizations happened around rivers, and then pipeline were laid, and water came into its side. Similarly, if we have people and customers and prospects walking into a particular area, it makes sense to be there. Simply, the law of averages, I will get some, you will get some. My neighborhood shop will come. So that is what I call as flow sales. So am I there in the space where these prospects who are my potential customers defined as the client avatar, am I there where they are coming? And how can I be there? I can be there if I am part of a community which enables them to come across. So if I am a particular, let me say, if I am a life insurance agent and my client avatar is defined as XYZ, for example, client avatar is 50-year-old working women with 2 children based in tier 2 cities, assuming that's my client avatar, which will be the next idea. Where are they going? They will be going to XYZ place. They would be going to a particular kind of restaurant or to a particular kind of entertainment section, a particular kind of education area, particular kind of schooling they would be looking at the children going into. If those are all part of my community and I am there, they will, when they come, they will just seek me out. I'm already there. But if I'm somewhere else and they are here, when I struggle to reach out to them, then I start pushing. So flow sales for me is the example of Crawford Market. Whatever I'm selling, am I there, present, shutter up in the place where my prospects are walking, or am I away from them? I might have a great product, the best product in the world, but if I'm not there where my prospects are walking in or the flow is happening, then my product will not be sold. So it's very important today to build. So I just given there was an analogy of Crawford Market, but in real terms, if I am part of a community which attracts this kind of client avatars for me, then they come, they will seek me out. I don't have to shout out and say, you know what, I'm doing this. They will seek me out, and they're watching me, they're observing me, and if it's giving the comfort factor to them, they will seek me out, and then it's only a matter of time before the sales happens or the relationship or the transaction or whatever happens. So it's all about in communities that we build. So like I told you about personality or the genius entrepreneur network. So entrepreneurs largely have 4 geniuses. Place, which is like extrovert. They focus on whom they know. So if you want to connect with somebody, I'll connect you. Tempo is a logical person. They work on timing. Steel is about multiplier. They look at how they're the introverts. How do we do something? How do we multiply? If there's a sugarcane factory, they are the ones who would say, "Let me sell sugarcane juice also. Let me sell biofuel also. Let me sell alcohol for sanitizers also from the same factory." And Dynamo is the creator of ideas. Dynamos are head in the clouds. They create, but they don't know how to sell what they've created, how to connect with people. It's the Blaze who does it. So whether I'm a Dynamo, Blaze, Tempo, or Steel, with these paradigms are made to the Entrepreneur Institute of Roger Hamilton, and this is one of the predominant genius that somebody is. Once I understand that, I know how to collaborate with the other geniuses so that I can be forming this community and selling through this community, where I will be visible and flow sales will happen. Anybody wanting to know more about this, Satish, can obviously write to you, and we will obviously give a free debrief. Anything in the abundance show, because there's abundance of everything in the world, abundance of sales, wealth creation, knowledge. So no, it's priceless. So we can't even charge a price. So we will give a free debrief for all your audience, Satish from the Genius Entrepreneur Network. So flow sales for me is all about being in a community which helps my prospects coming to me. Automatically, they will seek me out instead of me looking for them.
Wow. Wow. Superb.
I'm really,
Superb. That's
I'm really
a lot
pulling
of.
your program out of all time limits, right?
No worries. No worries. Let's go. Let's keep rocking. I think
Super.
it's
Thank you.
it's tremendous deep dive into your subject, which is your expertise. I think today we are breaking a different barrier here in terms of not just talking about superficially about your journeys and all of that. I'm talking into your subject matter, and it's very interesting. Good. Good. So now I'll go one step further. How does sales funnel differ from sales pipeline?
Okay, get ready for midnight. Okay, my favorite topic. Okay, sorry. So I always thought sales funnel, the funnel where you put kerosene, suspects, prospects, and then you filter it down, qualified prospects, all of that. What I realize now is that in this new normal, I'm not talking about the pandemic, but just before, in this VUCA world, in this world which is volatile and ambiguous and all that, in this VUCA world, there are so many options available for a buyer. It's not enough to put my prospects only in a funnel, because the funnel walls can be porous. They will just move out. So you are a prospect of mine and I have a great deal for you. You today evening will tell me, great, Suresh, makes sense. Let's meet tomorrow to close the deal. But tomorrow morning or tonight, you might get an email. You might hear something on the internet, or somebody will tell you something on WhatsApp, and suddenly you are confused. Tomorrow you may not. You may say, hang on, I said tomorrow, but let's wait for some more time. Because here is a prospect slipping by, right? So it's very, very important that if I get the attention of a prospect, I put that in the funnel. The moment I get that person who's giving me attention says, okay, I will give you time, come and meet me tomorrow. The moment I get an opportunity to give out my value proposition to him or her, that should be in the pipeline. What it means is, in the sales funnel, I'll keep all my leads. It means they're giving me attention, but they're not given me time to meet, time to pitch my product and service. The moment they say that time, meet me on Sunday, the moment they say that, they're showing prospectorial tendencies. The moment they become prospects, I need to keep them in a sales pipeline, which is horizontal, like a pipeline flows, where the walls are not that porous. All leads are in the funnel. The moment they become prospect, they come into the sales pipeline. My way of handling the sales pipeline prospects are different from handling the funnel. So in the pipeline, when the prospects come in, I need to have a wonderfully engaging follow-through activity, which I call a sales support. A follow-through activity which is not follow-up, but making sure that I'm giving them value, making sure that they're understanding that the value of what I'm giving is making sense for them, negotiating before giving the quotation or before the proposal is given. So negotiate before the proposal is given is my favorite. There are so many times when the customer says, give me your proposal, and after that the customer doesn't take your call, irrespective of your product or service. And then you don't really have too much to talk about because you've given it out. So it's very important to negotiate, ask the question in when somebody is very captured with proper follow-up. Why are you buying? What are you buying? Who apart from you would be interested in taking this decision in your company? Are you the only decision maker? And all of that, and finding out why would he buy from me, and why would he buy from me now, and why not from somebody else? What is the pressing need? If I don't have answers to these questions, chances are he will slip away. And if I know that earlier that he's going to slip away, I rather I rather realize it sooner than later. Because if I know this is not going to be my ideal prospect, or a prospect will not fructify into a customer for whatever reason, the sooner I see that, I'm going to save energy and time, and obviously I'll save money. I will only focus on those who are fitting into my formula, and then I pursue them. Otherwise, I should know much earlier कि ये मेरे लिए fit नहीं होने वाला है, and I will not follow up. So the short of this long story, keep your leads in the sales funnel. Keep on adding. Every day goes by when I do $1 million deal today or a ₹1 deal today. Make sure that my sales funnel is fertile. I keep adding leads in various ways. Leads from referrals, leads from social media, leads from calling, leads from emails, whatever. But if the moment somebody from the lead says, okay, I want to see your product, I want to meet you, I want to look at what you offer, which means asking for time, put them into the sales pipeline, create a sales method and the sales cycle and iteration within that sales timeline, make sure that you are really following through very well. That's the long and short of it. Sales funnel, which is like a funnel, pipeline is more insulated. So that's very critical. When you start implementing it through a CRM or through Excel or whatever anybody uses, some people use books to keep a track of their funnel and pipeline. It becomes very fascinating because so many times I'm upset because my pipeline did not close. But actually speaking, you know what? My funnel is very fertile. So many times I'm very happy the funnel is growing, but my sales pipeline is not looking fertile. And I understand why am I not getting a deal? Because I've not managed the flow of the funnel into the pipeline. So it's very important to have a different cap for handling your prospects in the pipeline and a different cap for handling the leads in your sales funnel to get them nurtured into prospects. So that's the difference between funnel and pipeline, or the integration between funnel and pipeline.
Wow, that's
I
very,
told you
that's
midnight, right?
terrific. That's terrific input, but Suresh, superb, very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, so sales funnel and sales pipeline, so much difference it makes once you have clarity on that. Very nice. Yeah. So in this digital hybrid world, how has the approach to sales changed?
Yeah, I like the word hybrid more than digital. So now it's a hybrid world for all times to come. Uh, People have got the feel of it. I can be on a Zoom screen. So even after pandemic, I mean, hybrid world is the new normal. It's very important. I think when I come out of the, so this is my real experience. From the screen, I come into the real world and meet somebody. From the screen, I come out and meet you next month. The connection that we have on the screen and the connection that we will have when we meet face to face should be by and large same. It should not look like, hey, this guy was so much different on the screen and he looks so different now. That should not be happening. So I'm sure all of us are smart enough to understand what it means. So I have to be natural self. I can be a smooth talker now, and then when I meet you, I keep silent. You will understand when what is right. Was that guy this guy, or this new guy whom I'm meeting physically is right? So that's simple. That's one. Second thing is, I think the way I will communicate about the value of my product and service can be done so very well online, digitally. But when I come to close a deal in certain aspects, when I look at face to face and do sign the deal, transaction or relationship, whatever it might be, the sincerity, the authenticity has to happen face to face, one on one. So the product and services value can be given well digitally, but the person's value and credibility can be given more distinctly face to face. That's what hybrid means. So very important to have that right mix, because I think there are cases when one out of two people will have a great look at your product and value and service and all that digitally, but would not sign the deal till they meet you, not because of a physical meeting, but they want to have a comfort factor that when they do this buying, this purchase, they're doing it with somebody who can be depended upon, and that can only happen in flesh and blood and in how the chemistry happens, because there are so many aspects non-verbal which is important for building human relationships, which doesn't come across in digitally. It's only verbal which comes across more. Like right now when I'm talking to you, my non-verbal is speaking more than my verbal, probably my hands are speaking more than my mouth, for example. But what comes across is more of what I speak. But in the real world, what I speak, what I don't speak, what I listen to, my non-verbal communication, all of that plays a role for the other human being to feel comfortable with me. So I think in the hybrid world, moving from screen to off screen, I should talk about my product and service on screen as much as I can, give a value presentation, all of that. And when it comes to forging the relationship, it can be well done offline. This is my take on the hybrid mode of selling.
Superb, superb. I think that's very well said. Actually, that the hybrid person, now you're having a persona on the screen and the digital media, and having the face-to-face same persona, consistency in the way you approach, transparency, and being true to who you are. I think it matters a
Correct.
lot. I think people will read through that, and it's very important for them to get that comfort. Yeah, very true. Yeah, I think well said, and I think authenticity tops anything else. Or authenticity tops over competency or skill or whatever it is. I think authenticity is what is the rule of the day today. It is the most
Absolutely.
essential thing. So before we come to the last parts of today's show, I would like to come back to that point about your community building. It's something unique to me actually. I've not heard it. Unique to you as rather. So can you just elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, and that's next. But today, this morning, I had a conversation with somebody who's a training aggregator, and coincidentally from Bangalore. I was speaking to her, and they all have so many community prospects to sell to. But everyone thinks, how do I hold my community? But putting somebody in a WhatsApp group or in an email broadcast list is not enough, because today there is so much of noise, so much of hype and hoopla. It's not possible for everyone to get connected to a particular group in which they are. So it's important today that there has to be a method to community building, a method wherein knowledge, relationship, networking in the true sense, they call it as networking with intent, a common cause of philosophy of a particular network, all that has to be manifested. Now, speaking is easy. So suddenly, if you and me are in a community, in a WhatsApp group, suppose, or in a Facebook group, or whatever you call it, suppose a WhatsApp group, the community manager of that community, or the host of that community, or the owner of that community, has to very importantly understand our common denominator between me and Satish, between us and somebody else, and make sure that there is enough traction happening in terms of what we want. For example, both of us are in a community because we are in a particular business, and we obviously don't want too much of forwards which are not making sense. Example. So, for example, forwards will not be allowed. Second, we might want to know something more about other businesses, how to look at, for example, we were talking earlier about cryptocurrency, for example. So, crypto investment or cash flow management or operational excellence or how to sell well, whatever it might be. In those discussions have to happen so that every network that we are part of or community part of is going to give us more value. Pro learning, enabling conscious collaborations, enabling discerning networking. That all that has to be done in a systematic manner, in a process. So Monday morning, ye aega, Wednesday evening, ye aega. Then maybe there's a talk show where we can talk to the business owners in the community. A talk show like this that will happen once in a month, for example. So all that process of methodizing the entire thing and running the community so that everybody there is captured, has traction, involved, and concentrating on us. So tomorrow, if I have a new product, it's very easy for me to articulate the product to this community because they're already tuned into me. So I think every business owner today, by and large, wants to have a community. So if I'm a person selling health items, health equipment to hospitals, for example, I may want to have hospital admin heads or hospital owners as part of a community where I keep them engaged to what they want to be. Somebody else might be doing LIC policy. They might want to have prospects who are having so something to keep them occupied. There will be a doctor offering diabetes, anti-diabetes protocols. He or she would want to have a community made. So community banana, everyone knows. Everyone knows how to do it on WhatsApp or a Facebook. But holding that community together, in that community, finding the flow of sales, in that community of client avatars defined, having a predictable focus on sales coming, that is something the order of the day according to me. And that's where in the last 24 months or so, or maybe slightly more in the pandemic, that research into that area, understanding the geniuses, holding the community, making a process, making mistakes, and then relearning and unlearning, all of that, I think that is what I'm looking forward to, Satish, of making communities for so many entrepreneurs. It could be a trainer, it could be a vendor to a manufacturing vendor to SMEs, it could be a startup fund, but how to hold your community and thereby get your sales happening through flow sales is what uh, value additions and the genius entrepreneur network, which we have co-founded, would focus upon in the next upcoming. I think that's probably very relevant, excites me.
Wow, wow, Suresh, that's really for. I mean, it's a thinking which is already there, percolated into a lot of businesses. But
Yes.
I think the systematic way that you're looking at addressing this and collaborating with people, I think that's the way forward. I think that's
Yeah, you said it.
definitely
Collaboration is the buzzword. Yeah, you said
yeah,
it. Yes.
true, true. So Suresh, let's get into something a little lighter now. So I have this rapid fire question round where I'll shoot some words
You
at
and
you.
rapid, you're supposed to be
Yeah.
extremely aram say and peaceful. Rapid and you doesn't gel well. You're sure is the right word?
Yeah, sure. So let's see how you react to these rapid fire questions. You'll answer in by way of 1 to 5 words. Okay, Suresh, and
One to
my
five
my
words.
1 to 5 words, and you can always
Okay.
elaborate after those 5 words are through on that point. So let me begin by throwing some words at you. Okay, the first one for you is leadership. I think we lost him. Let's see whether we can get him back. Yes. So I hope the audience got value out of today's discussion, because as you can see, today's discussion was much more deeper than what I normally have on the Abundance Show, in the sense that we delve deep into the domain knowledge of Suresh Menon. And when that happens, I think you will get a totally different dimension of the speaker who's coming on the show. And Suresh has, to his credit, experience in sales, and what he's doing with his sales augmentation process is something which is really very unique. And some of the things that he talked about today, I've been in sales and marketing for very long, more than 25 years. Some of these concepts were totally new to me, and certain concepts were known to me, but the way he has presented it, it's brought a totally different flavor to it. And it's about adding the various concepts. Like he talked about community building, he talked about collaborations. So normally we in sales or in marketing think about community building in terms of one person and building the community around that. And of course, the finding of the customer avatar, understanding what the customer needs, what are the pain points, and giving them content and giving them value addition, even without expecting sales, is something that is known to us. But what he's talking about here is one step ahead. He's talking about collaborating with people with domain knowledge who can add value to that community and being there together to give that value to people. So it's all of that is very, very interesting. Let's see if Suresh comes back for the rapid fire round, or else we might have to call it drafts for today. Let's wait for a few seconds more and then we'll decide. So, any questions from any of the viewers here? Most welcome. I can see, yeah, I can see a hi from Shirshanka Saha. Yeah, I can see that. Good, good, good. Thanks for that engagement. Yes, Suresh is back. Suresh, we lost you
You
for a
know what?
moment.
The power blew. And then I said,
Okay.
sales guy cannot take this towel lying down. I said that the power came back. It's like that
Wow.
area power went off. I know.
Oh, wow, wow. Superb. Okay, so coming back to the rapid fire, Suresh.
Yes.
So the first word is leadership.
From behind.
Selling skills.
Selling skills. Wow. Be honest.
Wow.
So if you have
Honesty.
the honesty
Nice.
skill, I think selling will happen. Doesn't matter. If it's an airplane or a hairpin.
Yes, true, true. Pandemic.
Nature telling humankind who's the boss.
Very true. I think this made us, a lot of us, realize that it's a plus for all of us because it gave us time to pause. We'll talk about that after the rapid fire. Success for you.
Should not go to the head.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, so education.
I know what I'm sitting next to the edge of the seat. Okay. So now you really got me in like this. Education. Okay. Common sense and practice.
Okay, okay. Best personality trait for leadership.
Be yourself. You have your genius, be yourself.
Nice. Fun. Enjoyment, fun.
So earlier, before pandemic, I would have said, put your hair down. You can see my hair, right? So put your hair down and all of that, paint the town red. But in this new reality, it's all about bonding and togetherness. Fun should mean bonding and togetherness.
Wow. Very profound. Very profound. I think that point which you mentioned about success don't allow it to go to the head. It's much more than the vanilla stuff that we know about. I think what happens for people in the limelight is, especially when you're in the struggling days, you have a persona, and then especially when you have success, then there's a need for you to step up in terms of your in terms of your accessibility, maybe, or in terms of your empathy towards what people are going through. And I think if there's a disconnect there, then that is something which is not very good, actually. Yeah, I think what you said was it touched me at a very deep level, what you said. So
Thank you very much. Yes.
very nice.
So I always thought that I will, from school days, the rapid fire, I will get killed in the rapid fire. I cannot survive. But you got the best out of me, I think, with my by my me evaluating myself. I didn't know these answers were there in me. You made it come out. Thank you,
Great.
Satish.
Superb, Suresh. So it's been wonderful talking to you, Suresh. I think 51 minutes have just gone by, and
Oh, wow.
thank you. Yeah, and thank you for your time. Anything else in the end you would like to say to the audience before we wind up?
I would say sell well, enjoy selling, be in love with your own genius. Each of us are unique, and that it's a lot of fun. And like I said, anything for Satish and the abundance show of us. Anybody wants to know about your own genius, we'll send you the link. We'll debrief you. We'll give you all of that absolutely complimentary, and that's something which I think can do a lot of wonders for entrepreneurs.
Superb. I think this genius that you're talking about, the 4 personalities that people have. So an assessment of that. I think
Yes,
we'll put that in the link.
entrepreneur, personalities of being a dynamo, creator, place connector, tempo, the person with logic and timing, and the multiplier, which is the skill, genius. Once I know what I am, I know how to collaborate. What is the formula of collaboration? So I can create flow sales.
Superb. Thank you very much, Suresh, for that offer. We'll put all those links in the comments below here. And all the very best to you and for the team that you are heading with these 2 organizations. All the very best. Keep rocking, keep inspiring, keep impacting. All the best.
Thank you, Satish, and thank you for getting me into a zone of 52 minutes of absolutely, I would say, the most pristine time spent. The time chala gaya pata bhi nahi laga. Was totally in that sync. Thank you for gifting me those 52 wonderful minutes and few seconds after that. Thank you, Satish.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Our aspirations as mankind is growing. We have begun to question ourselves and are trying to delve deep within to understand ourselves and to grow. We want to operate out of a deep sense of purpose. We have realized that humans can alter their lives by altering the attitudes of mind. Here's an attempt to connect, share, get some of the successful people to open up about their journeys. An attempt to delve into their minds, thought process and attitudes, how they think, feel, operate, and what are the habits that make them who they are. In the process, accept ourselves with all our insecurities, vulnerabilities, fear, and work towards transforming ourselves into better versions for today and tomorrow. I am Satish Rao. I am an abundance crusader, vlogger, online and network marketer. I am passionate about creating abundance in all areas of our lives.